turn to Senator Hassan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair and Ranking Member Crapo, and to our witnesses for being here today. There is strong public support for a national paid leave program, and I'm encouraged that there's growing bipartisan support in Congress because the current patchwork system isn't working. It's not working for families, and it's not working for our businesses and our economy. Without access to comprehensive guaranteed paid leave, many hardworking Americans are forced to reduce their hours or leave their jobs altogether when they welcome a child into their family, when they go through their own medical emergencies, or when they need to care for a sick family member or aging parents. So I want to start with a question to you, Ms. Fry. It was very good to see you last week. As we discussed in our meeting, many Granite Staters struggle because they don't have guaranteed paid family and medical leave. For instance, I've met with Carrie Duran in Wolfboro, a single parent of 3, who served as a caregiver to her father who had Alzheimer's until his passing in 2019. With no paid leave, in order to take her father to critical medical appointments, Carrie had to forgo hours of pay, choosing between caregiving and critical financial support for her family. She continues to struggle with lack of access to paid leave as she cares for her daughter who has complex medical needs, juggling part-time jobs at a financial cost. Ms. Fry, I'm sure that you've heard stories like Carrie's throughout the country. How can comprehensive paid leave help people like her who are in a position of caring for their parents, children, or other loved ones?
Well, thank you, Senator. I think, you really hit the nail on the head that comprehensive paid leave is comprehensive, and it recognizes that what paid leave may look like for one person and the need for one person is different for another. What we know, and I think Ms. Gressler, said this, is that a very small percentage, not very small, but less than a quarter of the leaves that are taken under the FMLA, for example, are for parental purposes. The majority of leave is for personal, and a little over a quarter is for family care. So you need comprehensive leave to ensure that a person like your constituent can actually take the time that they need to care for their parent. I had a similar issue when I was on staff at the National Partnership and had to take my dad to chemotherapy. So you need that type of flexibility.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Another question, which has to do with our service members who are in the National Guard and Reserves. They lack access to the parental leave that they need to care for and bond with their children after birth, adoption, or foster care placement. At a time when we are seeing recruiting and retention challenges across the military, we need to act swiftly to remove barriers so that parents will continue to serve in the military. That's why Senator Murkowski and I are pushing to ensure that our bipartisan reserve component Parental Leave Parity Act is included in this year's National Defense Authorization Act. Our bill will strengthen the military and support families by expanding parental leave to fathers and adoptive and foster parents serving in the Reserves and National Guard. Ms. Fry, why is it critical for our military readiness and strength to ensure that all new parents in the military have access to leave?
Well, it's critical to support our service members across the board, and that means not only service members who need to take time off because they're about to have a child, but also parents who are, maybe a spouse is having a child as well. And I so appreciate the legislation that you and Senator Murkowski are working on. What we know is having that time off, particularly for a new mom or new parent, is essential for bonding, for strengthening their family. It's particularly important when you have service members who are doing long deployments. The time that they are able to have with their families is critical. We know that our military readiness is connected to service members believing that their families are okay. So we have a duty, I think, as a nation to make sure that they have the tools available to them to make sure their families are as strong as possible.
Well, I appreciate that very much. I see my time is almost up, so I will submit one more question to Mr. Verhoeven for the record. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Very good. I thank my colleague. Next is